what we've got here today is a Hunter Comfort Breeze made by Robbins and Myers. This is an old one, probably 83, judging by the parts. '83 also would make sense since this is the newer 80s, 90s, 2000s Hunter logo, which also seen on the cap. The canopy is not original to it. The canopy is a fanimation bit I had lying around. See, when I got this fan, it had a 45-degree slope canopy and nothing else with it because they never come with the parts. So, I decided to do this. And the finish here is like a satin white, eggshell white, which happens to match the grayish antique white finish of the fan perfectly, or close to perfect. Which I find very nice. The switch housing, as you can see by the yellowing, is plastic. Yeah. Now, Hunter, in 90s catalogs, showed how they're the best. How, ooh, they make the quietest fans, and they showed how their competition did things, right? They showed, like, oh, rubber flywheels can break. Ooh, off-the-shelf motor. Ooh. Yeah. I guess they wanted to forget about the fact that this one has just that. Yeah. This ridiculous thing has a proprietary R&M stack motor in it and a rubber flywheel, which, if you know anything about these, you will also know they like to break. Yeah, they like to break. So yeah, they kinda wanted to forget that this thing existed. When the Comfort Breeze was introduced, probably in like 81, maybe 82. Alright. I don't know the exact date of introduction, but either 81 or 82. This was Hunter's economy model. They wanted to introduce something that wasn't an original. It wasn't oil bath, because that was their flagship, top-of-the-line workhorse model. So yeah, this was the early 80s recession. So, people were broke. People wanted something cheaper. So Hunter made this. Yeah, this thing, like I said, uses a proprietary stack motor and a rubber flywheel. Alright. The stack motor is interesting in that the top end bell of the stack motor is actually the top of the motor housing itself. It's integrated. So, it has the stator, a bottom end bell, and the rest of it just mounts to the top of the housing. Yeah, that's proprietarianism at its finest. Or, wrong word, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway. Yeah. People, lighting showrooms and such, they didn't really like these. They thought they were garbage back then. I mean, by today's standards, this fan's actually not bad in terms of quality, but this was cheap crap compared to an original back in the early 80s. So, you see the top of the motor is vented. The top of the motor is where the motor bolts into. The top of the motor, the top housing, also houses the top bearing for the fan. Now, early Comfort Breezes, they used plastic switch housings, plastic canopies, and they used these weird triangular blade irons, which also, for whatever reason, had a smaller motor screw spacing compared to originals. This fan has a 1 15/16 inch screw spacing, which is today's import standard. Originals used the American standard 2 1/8 inch spacing. Later Comfort Breezes used original irons, normal C irons with a rounded profile, with a different hole spacing in the flywheel, which supported 2 1/8 inch. Weird. Very weird. So, speaking of the flywheel, I'm pretty sure it was replaced because it's in good shape, and most of these are either hard as a rock or broken when you find them. So this had to have been a replacement. It has a plastic hub core, so it's a little loose on the shaft, because if you tighten it too much, the plastic's going to crack and the thing's going to break. So I'm pretty sure the flywheel in this was replaced. And also, the Comfort Breeze, as you see here, was Hunter's very first import fan. It was the first fan made entirely in Taiwan. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see how it performs. Starting on low. The motor is rated for 1.2 amps. The motor has 3 speeds. Early ones had 2 speeds. And all of the 36 inch models had 2 speeds through the entire run. And I'm not sure if the 42 inch had 2 or 3 speeds. I need to find one, but either way, 3 speeds in this one. So yeah, early Comfort Breezes, like I said, they used the integrated motor where the top housing was actually part of the motor, but later ones, made around like 83 through 85, they used a low-profile stack motor that was 1 unit, which acted like a normal stack motor. Not integrated, more comes out in one piece. So, as you can see, the low speed is not bad, about average for Hunter imports. About the same low speed as same RPM as an original of the same period on low. Or, not the same period, more, yeah, it's the same low speed as the 1.1 amp motor originals. Maybe between 84 and 93, I think. Which is a nice aesthetic but useful low. You can also hear a bit of a hum. Hunter makes the quietest fans, No, not necessarily. This one has a nice audible hum to it. Anyway, let's go to medium. On medium, the speed picks up. It's a little fast for a medium. It's almost about the same RPM as later 2 amp motor originals. And again, that medium is fast. Of course, you hear the hum. But also notice that the fan has no wobble. One of the blades is starting to split, but there's a balancing weight right where it's splitting, which is probably holding it together. And yeah, no wobble. When I got the fan, the bottom bearing was gummed up. It was hissing like hell, and it was gummed up to the point where the low speed wouldn't work. So, a little zoom spout oiler later, and it's nice and free, with relatively minimal noise. It's not hissing anymore, it's nice. The blades on this fan are solid wood, but they're probably... I guess they're pecan? Whatever they are, they're extremely light. They're cheap wood. Not the walnut, solid walnut that later originals of, the 80s used. Or the mid-80s anyway. Let's go to high. It should also be noted that the motor has pretty high torque. High starting torque. Like, this thing gets up to speed pretty quickly. RPM, I would guess it's about 180, 190, maybe 195. Not quite 200, but still pretty respectable. And still you see no wobble. This is the first Comfort Breeze I've gotten that's actually usable, in the sense that the flywheel's not broken, because the only replacements for these flywheels are of the original design. Like Switchco, for example, does not yet make flywheels similar to, say, the Emerson flywheels, or Casablanca, or Fanimation. They're all the same kind. They don't make flywheels like that just yet for the smaller shaft. So, wish they would. But, no, you have to just get the plain original replacements. Which, of course, have the same flaws as the original ones, in that they like to break. And since the switch housing is very, very thin, yeah, the flywheels sometimes like to slide past the switch housing. The blades fly around everywhere, landing on people's heads. Terras were similarly flawed like this. So, fun fact of the day. Let's let it coast. The reverse switch for the fan is on top of the motor. Unfortunately, it's being annoying in the sense that it doesn't want to work right on reverse. So unfortunately I can't really test it on reverse until it's replaced. But you get the gist. This Comfort Breeze, early Comfort Breezes, or maybe this is one of 3 fans that used... 3 Hunter fans that actually used a stack motor. Most of everything else is either oil bath or spinner. Or in later cases, both. Like I said, they kind of trashed the idea of stack motors, and yet they use them themselves, and yet they don't want you to remember that. So, yeah, like I said, at the time it was crap quality compared to an original, but 35 years later, it's a pretty decent quality nowadays in comparison. So, there you have it, an early 80s Hunter R&M Comfort Breeze.